sometime from now, we'll get a sort of clarity as to what actually happened. And, this statement would be very crucial because, as you mentioned earlier, that even when first their permission was, sought for emergency landing in Delhi, but it was not allowed. And in fact, it was suggested that you go to Jaipur, but it was, not accepted by that pilot. And, he carried forward the particular journey and use the Indian space, and finally is out of the Indian space. So in some time from now, we are looking for the official statement of the Indian Air Force, and we'll get sort of clarity that we are looking for.
All right, Akash, thank you so much. In fact, as we stand by for that statement by the Indian Air Force, let me once again go back to my guest who continues to be with us on the broadcast, Group Captain Vinod. We just heard we're standing by for that statement by the Indian Air Force. The possible theories, the conspiracy theories also doing the rounds, of course, because this was a very, very dramatic state of affairs. We're talking about 1.5 to 2 hours when this particular flight in question was in the Indian airspace.
Yeah, and what really surprises me, ma'am, is when an aeroplane goes from, say, A to B, it has a certain amount of reserve. It's called the route reserve, and a possible hold at the destination. This reserve is not much, contrary to common belief. This reserve is about half an hour, maybe at the most.
Okay.
And the amount of time that he has held here, the reserve has been more, which is first red flag for me. The second red flag for me is that such deviation from the route is normally not done without permission and taking into account all other safety aspect of other traffic in the adjacent route. So how has he executed this maneuver? That is my second red flag. Third red flag is this whole thing is timed so perfectly with LCH getting inducted and Raksha Mantri at Jodhpur.
Absolutely.
So all the three red flags lead to not a conspiracy theory, but at least a speculation, or at least we could discuss that how all this jigsaw puzzle came into place.
And Captain Vinod, why the insistence of landing in Delhi only? Because that was the insistence, and when it was denied and it was suggested that you land in Jaipur, that was not adhered to. He decided to go to his usual route.
Absolutely. So what was the intention to land at Delhi? Which means someone who is holding the cards is asking him to say that. So my fourth red flag is the pilot under duress. That is my question. Because no pilot says that I have to land in Delhi while I'm actually holding over Jaipur, close to Jaipur. So these are the things that there's a lot of questions. Not one of questions, a lot of questions. So is the pilot under with the temple? I don't know. There is no other reason why the pilot behaved the way he behaved.
Also, Captain Vinod, if you could also take our viewers through the kind of security protocol that's put in place before ceremonies like the one we just saw in Jodhpur, the fact that the Raksha Mantri was in attendance along with other dignitaries. Of course, this was a very, very important day for the country, considering LCH was inducted in the Indian Air Force. What is the kind of protocol that we look at over here?
See, a lot of things which is in the open domain I can talk about, but it is very simple. Raksha Mantri is a VIP and VVIP, and all the securities that is required to be provided to VVIP, and he is also NSG protectee and Z-class security, etc., etc. So there are a whole lot of protection, layered protection that is given to him when he is in such an occasion. Next is Chief of the Air Staff and other VIP people who were there. So it was a very, an environment which A, required a lot of protection, B, it's a juicy target all together at one time, at one place. So, and Air Force Station like Jodhpur is one of the largest Air Force stations. People don't know it has got layered air defense, etc., etc. If anyone tries to come anywhere near it, you would be a mad fellow. That's all I can say. Because penetrating into Jodhpur with an airplane is nearly impossible.
Okay.
So if that was the thought process of the person who held this pilot to ransom, is once we come to know, we'll come to know once they land. And I'm
Yes,
more than
absolutely.
certain that there's something that transpired which made the pilot say, I want to land in Delhi only.
Hmm.
So all that we'll come to know. But the thing is, it is a fortress which is a three-dimensionally secured fortress with layered defense. I
Hmm.
mean, suffice to say that much. That to penetrate, to go to the core, you'll have to go through a lot of other defenses. So it's not easy. And post 9/11, most what 100% airlines have taken a lot of security measures in place. Most importantly, the cockpit door. Earlier, it was not bulletproof. Today, it is. अनिवार्य है आपके लिए कि वो bulletproof बनाया जाए. So penetrating into the cockpit door, once the cockpit doors are closed, impossible otherwise unless you use a heavy weaponry, which in any case would blow up the aeroplane itself.
Okay.
So post 9/11, a lot of things have come into place. Today, it's not easy to do what this particular airline pilot claimed, that there is a bomb on board. So the bomb on board is a big major worry for me. A
Right,
bomb on
absolutely.
taking bomb on board means there was someone in Kout in Tehran where it got launched, including their security agency, some ATC personnel, to a lot of other people who allowed this bomb to get on board. All
Okay.
that will come to know once the
Yeah,
aeroplane
absolutely.
lands, and
And
I'm live
now
tracking it.
that the flight is out of the Indian airspace, of course, we have less reason to worry. However, this particular statement, if at all, what we are fearing really holds some ground and goes on to be true, how does the Indian Air Force go ahead and release it so that there is no amount of panic that is ensured that doesn't happen?
Yeah, so all this that we are discussing and talking about right now is with very limited information that is available.
Yes.
We physically seen what this aeroplane has done close to IG airport. B, what the pilot requested. C, the information that came out in ANI saying that bomb threat, which means credibly that pilot has announced, whether through the ACARS, there's something called an ACARS where you type in the message and send it and not talk it, or through verbal means, he may have communicated that there is a bomb
Bomb
threat.
on board. Okay.
So it is a
Okay.
communicated bomb threat. It is not a speculated bomb threat.
Okay.
So that is which is the largest question in this entire sequence of event. So all this put together, we are asking certain questions which are logical. We are not asking questions which is bordering on conspiracy. You're understanding what I'm saying?
Yes,
We are
absolutely, sir.
asking some logical questions based on these minimal information that is available. And some of it is we are seeing with our own eyes right here. This hold has been for longer duration, more than what the reserve that normally carries. So these are questions which needs to be answered. He has been allowed to go, that is for sure, because if he was not allowed to go, he would have been made to land, and he would have to land. There is no question about it. So there is some kind of what do you call that, dialogue that may have happened between him and the ATC, and the ATC and the powers that be, could be Ministry of Civil Aviation and probably Ministry of Defense as well, to allow him to go. So we have allowed him to go. That is for sure. So once he lands, and I don't know what will come out of China. You know China very well than I do.
Yeah. So do you
So
think
what
the
will come
route
out of
also is
China, what will
crucial
come
over
out of
here?
this-
We are talking about the Mahan Air of the Iranian, passenger jet that we're talking about. Also the route that it had decided to take to China. These things also make it very, very crucial. Earlier you were also making a point how it becomes very, very difficult to breach a Mahan aircraft carrier like a passenger jet, like the Mahan airline. So how do these things really, should be brought to perspective here?
Yeah, good question. See, what happens is, again, I'm just demystifying the mystery surrounding the whole thing. So what happens is, the security of the ATC and the aerodrome is not with the airline. It is with the security agencies of the country. In our case, it is we have the CRPF and sometimes even the police arguments them. In their country, it may be army. In some countries, it is the army. In some country, it is the air force, like Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, the security of the aerodrome is with the Sri Lankan Air Force, right up to you board. So it is completely different from every country. But the moment a passenger shows up at the gate, it is the security of the airline that comes into play. So there is something called secondary ladder point check, also called the SLPC. Very important for us to understand this. So when SLPC is not done all the time, SLPC is done whenever it is required to be done. So when there is a threat, in some countries SLPC is done always. So when there is a threat or some intelligence that has come that yes, there is a possible bomb threat that could happen, the airlines conducts the check of the baggage once again before the passengers are allowed to board with their baggage into their SLPC, which is an airline's job. Once the baggage are loaded, again they conduct a check whether no other extra baggages come. Before the passengers are boarded, these airline security people check that the entire place is clear of any baggage. No unidentified baggage is there. So all this is airlines' job. So if bomb has entered it, not only that Mahan Airlines has failed, the Tehran government has failed, and the Tehran security agencies have failed. Tehran intelligence have failed. Or are they in cahoot with this? That is the larger question that I have. Over to you.
All right. Captain Vinod, stay on with me. Let me actually once again take our viewers through this flight trajectory that we're talking about. Remember, this is a very, very dramatic state of affairs that have just about unfolded. We're looking at 1.5 hours of unsurety because this Iranian passenger aircraft was moving through the Indian airspace. This is the trajectory that we are talking about over here. It made a distress call. We're talking about the Mahan Air. This is an Iranian passenger-based aircraft which gave a distress call to Delhi, where the ATC received that call, and probably there was a communication of a bomb on board. That was the threat call that was actually given. There was a suggestion that was made by the ETC for the flight to land in Jaipur because there was a request that the flight needed to land in Delhi, which could not have been allowed considering the kind of traffic that an international airport in Delhi really sees. The pilot here decides not to go ahead with what was suggested. It takes this route, moves into the Indian airspace, crosses this entire stretch from Delhi, crosses over to Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and then moves into Bangladesh. This is the entire trajectory. Tripura, Mizoram, this is the entire Indian airspace that it took, finally getting into Myanmar. Now that it is out of the Indian airspace, there is some sort of a respite that we see because clearly there was a bomb threat, and this particular aircraft was flying through the Indian airspace. Right now, the flight is here. It's headed to China at Guangzhou. That is the route. It's decided to stick to its route, and we can see that it's moved out of the Myanmarese airspace. It's now headed to China. Let me take this back to my guest who continues to be with us on the broadcast, Group Captain Vinod. We were just talking about the trajectory which the pilot here chooses to stick to despite the communicated distress signal to the ATC. You know, how detrimental can it get? Once again, at the cost of repeating it, but our viewers need to understand how tricky can it get for the defense mechanism here in the country. And considering you've also said that if the authorities would not have wanted for this flight to have crossed the Indian airspace, at no cost could it have done that?
Absolutely. For such a strong air force like our air force, unless we allow it to continue to its destination, it cannot and would not have continued. That we must understand it very clearly. And second is, it's a communicated threat. It is not speculated threat. I'm repeating, it is a communicated threat. Pilot, by some means, there are many means pilot communicates to ATC. Verbal is not the only means. So it is communicated, it has communicated that there was a bomb threat. Now, first is communication that has happened. Second, what has been demonstrated? Demonstrated is what is here. In a simple flight from A to B, where you should have followed a line, this line is, though it is invisible, it is a very, very tight line. I'm repeating myself. So the required navigation performance on this line is not more than 5 miles. So it is like a highway in the sky, and you cannot stray off that highway. It is very, very simple.
Absolutely.
So yes, A communicated, demonstrated. What has he demonstrated? He has demonstrated a hold more than the reserve that he carries. The amount of time he has held here is more than the standard reserve. Maybe Mahan Airlines, being Mahan, maybe giving them a lot of hold time at destination. Or maybe the destination weather was bad and sometimes you get a hold time of almost 1 hour of fuel. More often than not, 15, 20, 30 minutes of fuel is what you get as a hold time. He has demonstrated that threat by holding here. Third, he insisted on landing at Delhi.
Yes.
Anyone, I'm a pilot myself, anyone with a bomb on board would want to land at the closest airfield.
Yes.
Why would he insist that I want to land in Delhi only with a bomb? He should be out of his mind, because where in a place like Delhi, if a bomb goes off in an aeroplane which has so much of fuel, which is in itself is a bomb, and we have seen in 9/11, without even a bomb on board, 2 aeroplanes brought down 2 towers.
Oh, absolutely. This was a massive security threat that has possibly been averted. We're still waiting for the IAF statement to come out. Group Captain Vinod, thank you so much for being with us. In fact, stay on with me. Let me take these very pertinent questions that you're raising to also Air Vice Marshal Kapil Kak, who now is joining us on the broadcast. Vice Marshal Kapil Kak, the fact that we are trying to understand what has happened over here in this 1.5 to 2 hours, what really must have transpired after that distress call was given to the ATC and that insistence by the pilot on board to land in the national capital. Of course, this could possibly have been a massive security threat for the country.
I couldn't agree with you more. There are far too many questions that last hour and a half or two raises rather than the answers that can be provided. First and foremost, if there is a distress call or a distress situation on a bomb being on board, it has to come through the normal channels. In this case, I'm told, you can correct me, that the first call came from Pakistan to Indian ATC. Now, this could well have been conveyed by Mahan Air or Iranian Air Traffic Control Authority. Second is that the pilot has then come in and said that he has a bomb on board as reported. Now, who conveyed to him that is not known. But then insists that he lands in Jaipur. He lands in Delhi. Now, that's not pilot's decision. That is the decision of the ground control of the country over which he is seeking an emergency landing. And I think you more than anyone else knows that in the 2 hours that we have been at this, every minute there's an aircraft taking off for landing at Delhi. We would have upset about approximately 150 flights with approximately 20,000 passengers. So you know what that means. So we have taken the appropriate step.
Air Marshal Kak, I'm afraid I'll have to just interrupt you there. We were just standing by for the statement by the Indian Air Force. We now finally have it. In fact, IAF jets were scrambled after information was received. IAF now says that they are following it, maintaining a safe distance as per the SOPs. However, the aircraft was allowed to continue on its flight onwards China after Iranian agencies asked India to disregard the threat. This is the statement that's come out of the Indian Air Force. As per sources, we are also being told that India continues to follow this particular aircraft very, very closely till the time it had left the Indian airspace as well. My colleague Akash is through with us on the broadcast. Akash, finally a statement there by the Indian Air Force claiming that the Iranian authorities in fact asked India to disregard this entire threat.
Exactly, and this is giving much of clarity as of now, Griha, because everyone was looking for clarity, and as far as this statement is concerned, so it is clearly saying that this aircraft was offered an option to land in Jaipur and then at Chandigarh as well. And Indian Air Force fighter aircraft were scrambled, which followed the aircraft at the safest distance. Means all the SOPs were followed. But later it was said that we need to disregard the particular bomb scare, and that was the only time after which this aircraft was finally out of the Indian airspace. But Indian Air Force giving a lot of clarity on the whole issue, where it has been told that yes, this was very much true that Indian Air Force was on high alert, and they in fact followed the particular airplane at the safest distance and maintaining all their standing operating procedures and all their protocols. They maintained, and in fact the pilot was given, because we know this for a fact that initially this particular plane was asking for landing at Delhi airport, but it was denied, and in fact it was given an option to land at either Jaipur or at Chandigarh. But the pilot did not agree to these terms, and he continued using our airspace. And Indian Air Force at that point in time scrambled, and the fighter planes, in fact, they got ready for the possible aerial emergency. And later, the information was received from Tehran that we need to discard the particular scare. And after that only, we got some sort of relief. And as of now, this particular plane is out of Indian airspace. This is what we are learning here.
All right, Akash, thank you so much for putting this to perspective. Finally, have that statement by the Indian Air Force. My colleague Poonam is also joining us on the broadcast. Poonam, the fact that there is some sort of clarity that it was Tehran that had asked the Indian authorities to disregard this entire threat and let the flight go ahead with the chosen trajectory on to China, of course, really answers some bit of the questions that we have. However, still, there is no clarity on why the insistence on landing in the national capital.
Absolutely, because as far as the facts that we have put forward so far for our viewers, this really goes on to confirm that it was transitioning in Indian airspace and that IF fighter jets were scrambled to monitor and track it. That is the information that we've been getting for our viewers up until now. The new information now is that Jaipur was not the only option that was given to this particular flight to land. Chandigarh was another option that was given, but they refused to land there. They only wanted to land in the national capital. However, the pilot declared his unwillingness to divert. So perhaps they were on the flight path to Delhi or onwards, which is why he refused to go to either Jaipur and Chandigarh. But IF confirming that there was an intimation that was received from Tehran to disregard this particular bomb scare, which is why it was allowed to continue its journey over the Indian airspace and then towards its destination in China. All actions taken by the IAF as per the laid down procedure is what the Air Force goes on to confirm, jointly with the Ministry of Civil Aviation and the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security as well. So not just the IAF, but the centre also was very, very closely monitoring the Civil Aviation Ministry, keeping a close watch on what exactly was transpiring for those 2 hours perhaps when this particular passenger flight was in the Indian airspace. The aircraft was under close radar surveillance by the Air Force throughout the Indian airspace. That's the confirmation that has come to the fore from the IAF, and we do know that as we speak, the flight is well out of the Indian airspace, perhaps to land at its destination in China in about an hour or so.
So, Poonam, it's very, very clear that there are certain details that are being withheld by the Indian Air Force. In fact, Poonam, stay on with us. Let me quickly cut across to Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, who is in Jodhpur. These are visuals from Jodhpur. We are talking about the light combat helicopter induction ceremony that's continuing. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on board that entire helicopter there. We are seeing these visuals from Jodhpur. My colleague Akash also is joining us back on the broadcast. Akash, the ceremony continues despite the fact that we had to divert our attention because of this entire international flight scare that we were on. This is a historic day for the Indian Air Force. Nothing really sways away from what we see today.
Exactly, and Griha, while it is about the Atmanirbhar Bharat, this is the perfect example of Atmanirbhar Bharat because light combat helicopter is India's own and indigenously developed helicopter, and it has a variety of features. And while we talk about the attack helicopters, so the service ceiling of this helicopter is the maximum of all attack helicopters. In fact, this was the very point that I was raising just a few minutes back. But as of now, we have the formal induction day where the Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh has, taken part in this particular ceremony. In fact, CDS Anil Chauhan was also there. General Anil Chauhan was also there. Air Chief Marshal was there. Several dignitaries were there. Also, we have been given to understand that Prachand is the name that is given to this particular light combat helicopter. After Tejas, we have Prachand in the fleet of Indian Air Force. And, talking about the features of this particular aircraft. So it has, armored protection system, night attack capabilities it has, and also it has crashworthy, it is with the crashworthy landing gears. So you can use it for search and rescue operations. You can use it for destruction of Indian, enemy air defense operations, and also for counterinsurgency operations. So this aircraft, this particular helicopter, this particular helicopter can, fly up to 6,500 meters and with a speed of 330 kilometers per hour. This is what the features are. And as of now, while we are getting these 10 helicopters in the Indian Air Force, the first squadron is being raised at Jodhpur, where we are seeing these visuals. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh and all other dignitaries are there. And clearly, this is going to give a major boost because, in the March itself, Prime Minister Narendra Modi led a cabinet committee for security approved the procurement. And, as of now, we are getting the total 15 units from Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, out of which 10 will be used by Indian Air Force and 5 will be used by Indian Army. Prachand is the name. And finally, Prachand is a part of Indian Air Force today.
Absolutely, Akash, and you mentioned how this is designed for high altitude areas. Of course, this is going to be a big boost for the country, especially along the China border.
Exactly. And, if I need to mention this, because the prototypes of this particular helicopter. So, the need of these types of helicopters came in 1999 at the time of Kargil War. And in 2006, finally, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited got this note that okay, they are going to, design and develop such helicopters. And it took a long time straight from 2006 to 2022. But last year, the, two prototypes were very much deployed at the actual line of control. At this point in time, this is the only attack helicopter that has landed in Siachen, and that's the reason why they are saying that it has the maximum ceiling of all attack helicopters. It can go up to 6,500 feet, and this is also the reason why they call that this is the perfect example for Atmanirbhar Bharat. And today is a historic day, Griha, because now we have the first squadron at Jodhpur. And, not only for China, it is also important for the India-Pakistan border because we know the kind of tension that we generally face at the border. And Jodhpur Air Force Station is strategically very, very important while it is about the western borders. So as of now, the first squadron is going to be raised at Jodhpur, and after that the other squadrons will follow.
Absolutely. And Akash, we all know that India is one of the top 10, defense spenders when it comes to in the world. In fact, the third largest only after US and China. We also hear that there are more such in the pipeline for the country.
Exactly. And, Griha, this is coming at a time when we are all set to phase out the MiG-21 series by 2025. At a time when, we are phasing out our old, fighter planes. So LCH is going to be a part of Indian Air Force. And, in fact, I had a word with some of the experts and some of the officers from Indian Air Force. They are not only getting inducted this base model, but they are also looking for future upgrades because they say that artificial intelligence is the future. And also in terms of, security and, getting your broad borders area and getting your land protected, you need advanced features. And, talking about light combat helicopter, so we have been given to understand that this helicopter provides the every information on the helmet of pilot itself. So it is somewhere not only the indigenously developed helicopter, but it is also an advanced helicopter. Prachand is the name, and as of now, we are getting 10 units of the same helicopter. and in the next 10 years we'll be getting some more units.
And there you have the Defence Minister, in fact, all set to take flight in the light combat helicopter, newly inducted into the Indian Air Force. There's going to be a ratio in which it is going to be divided between the IAF and the Indian Army. We are told that possibly 10 helicopters would be part of the Indian Air Force, 5 for the Indian Army at the moment. There are more to come in. We are seeing those glorious visuals, Akash, as the Raksha Mantri all set to take that maiden flight in the light combat helicopter.
Where it was a pre-plan that Raksha Mantri will be taking a flight in it, and in fact I need to mention this very point that at this point in time we are getting 10 units, but the army has a plan to acquire 95 light combat helicopters, largely for a combat role in mountain, because as I mentioned earlier, the first need was felt in 1999, back in 1999, when we had to we were dealing with a kind of combat conditions where there were large mountains, and at that time Indian Air Force officer somewhere felt the need of a helicopter that can go up to that level and that can have the maximum ceiling, and that's the reason why in 2006 finally Hindustan Aeronautics Limited started designing and developing this particular helicopter. Also, Prachand is the name, and Prachand is a Hindi word that means that shows somewhere the aggression, that shows somewhere the speed. After Tejas, we know about the light combat aircraft Tejas. In fact, just a few days back we were reporting about Tejas. But now this particular helicopter, which is named Prachand, is going to be a game changer. This is what they say. And at this point in time, Army is also looking for 95 more light combat helicopters. In fact, Indian Air Force is looking for the upgraded version. In fact. So as of now, after March, this is the big development in the month of October, where today is a historic day, and we are going to get the first batch of this light combat helicopter. In fact, we have got the first batch of light combat helicopter, and in fact, we are seeing these visuals where Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh is taking a flight in it, and also, it is a multi-role helicopter. It is a multi-role helicopter. It can be used for various operations, and not only for the air-to-air combat, but it can, it is also capable of stopping any sort of drone attack. It can stop any slow-moving aircraft. So it has a variety of features, and it can be used for multiple roles, and that's the reason why they are saying it is a game changer. And as of now, we are seeing these visuals where Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh is taking a flight in it today.
Oh, absolutely. And Prachand is what it is going to be called. And like Akash, you were mentioning, how this speaks volumes about this light combat helicopters, agility, maneuverability, and of course the various things that it is going to be achieving, indigenously built in the country. Of course, this is a big boost for not just the Indian Air Force, but also the Indian Army. If you're talking about the kind of roles that it can actually go ahead and fit into, combat is one thing. However, when it comes to search operations and other such events, also the destruction of the enemy airfield, that also something that this has been well equipped for, Akash.
Exactly, and Griha, other than the operations, so when you talk about the features, so it has a total weight of 6 tons that helps it to go up to a height of 6,500 meters, which is around 13 to 14,000 feet, and it can go more above that as well. In fact, and whenever you talk about attack helicopters, so speed plays an important role, and we have been given to understand that it has a maximum speed of 330 kilometers per hour. It can carry a variety of missiles. It can carry a variety of weapons, and it can be used, to stop any sort of drone attack. In fact, we were given to understand that this helicopter can also be used against slow-moving aircraft and remotely pilot aircraft, which is again the drone. So it is going to be a game changer, and Prachand is the name. You see, we had light combat helicopter in the Sulur Air Base, and now we have this particular helicopter that has been raised in the Jodhpur Air Force Station, which is the Western Command, and strategically it is very, very important Air Force Station. And as of now, these visuals that are coming directly from this particular Air Force Station, where Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh is very much there inside the light combat helicopter, multi-role helicopter that is India's own and indigenously developed helicopters developed by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited that started the development back in year 2006, and now finally in 2022 we are getting these units. This is the base model, and in future we are also looking for the upgrades of this particular helicopters we have.
Right, Akash, and as the Defence Minister is all set to take his sortie there in the light combat helicopter. We also would like you to highlight about the several key aviation technologies that this one houses. This one has a glass cockpit, among other things that I see over here. Beautiful visuals coming out of Jodhpur there, Akash. Akash, can you hear me? All right, we seem to have lost that link with Akash. However, he was talking about how the LCH, or the Light Combat Helicopter, is equipped with requisite agility and also extended range, high altitude performance, all-weather combat capability to perform a range of roles that includes combat search and rescue, also destruction of enemy airbase, defense and counter-insurgency operations. These are some of the key highlights. Also, key aviation technologies, like I just mentioned. You can see that glass cockpit over there. There's a composite airframe structure that also has been indigenized. All these are key features when we see the LCH over here that's been inducted into the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army. Akash is back with us on the broadcast. Akash, you were talking about the key features there that Prachand here houses.
Right, and Griha, for the benefit of our viewers, let me mention this very fact that today is the important day where we are going to formally induct. In fact, we have inducted these, light combat helicopters. The very features are that first one is that it is indigenously developed by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and secondly, it has a variety of features where it has the maximum service ceiling of 6,500 meters. Also, I need to mention this very fact that it got started at around 11 when Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh was finally at the venue. It got started with the puja ceremony and then the late procedure for the induction. Now, after this particular squadron, we are looking forward for some more. And this particular Air Force station, because you were talking about the tensions between India and Pakistan and also at the actual line of control. So first of all, we are going to have the first squadron at Jodhpur, and after that we are also looking for some units to be deployed at LAC, which is at Siachen. And in fact, I need to mention this very point that this is the only attack helicopter in the world that has ever landed at Siachen. So you can understand the importance.
There, Akash, do stay on with me. But these are visuals coming in from Jodhpur now, where it's all systems go for the first sortie that is going to be undertaken in this light combat helicopter. And there you have it. Just about to hit the airspace is Rajnath Singh, along with the pilot, in the first ever sortie after these light combat helicopters were inducted into the IAF. 15 of them, in fact, have been inducted today. And there's Rajnath Singh there, taking the first sortie, waving out to the cameras and the people that have all their eyes on them. We are expecting a short sortie there for Rajnath Singh, the Defence Minister, to take, Akash, before he lands back. And this, of course, coming after he highlighted the importance of this induction into India's firepower.
Exactly, and Poonam, you see, he was very much mentioning about the land of Rajasthan and how Rajasthan has helped Indian Army to, Rajasthan has in fact given a lot of brave warriors, and he was very much mentioning about this particular helicopter, and the very fact that it is indigenously made, and when Prime Minister Narendra Modi talks a lot about Atmanirbhar Bharat, this is the perfect example. And in fact, I was mentioning a few minutes back that it is the light-weighted helicopter that can go up to 6,500 meters, and also it's an all-weather helicopter that can be used at any weather. Further, we know about the tensions that we are facing at the actual line of control, and as I mentioned, that this is the only helicopter that can only attack helicopter, in fact, that has ever landed at Siachen. So the deployment will be very crucial. But this particular day, where we are seeing Rajnath Singh as of now, taking a flight in this particular helicopter, which is named as Prachand, and Prachand is a Hindi word. You see, that somewhere shows the aggression, that somewhere shows the speed. And as of now, after Tejas, we have got this name of this light combat helicopter. First squadron being raised at Jodhpur, and further, our Indian Air Force is looking for future upgrades. And also, this is coming at a time when, Indian Air Force, in fact, the Defense Ministry is all set to phase out the MiG-21 series of Indian Air Force. the light combat helicopter that has been designed and developed by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited has finally been inducted in the Indian Air Force. As of now, we are getting 10 units, while the rest 5 units will be taken by the Indian Army. And, it is coming after the development where in March itself, Prime Minister Narendra Modi led a cabinet committee for security approved the procurement of 15 units. And the budget was around 4,000 crores. And, by 2025, we are expecting, by 2026, in fact, we'll be getting all these 10 units. And also, Indian Air Force officers are somewhere very confident about this particular version, particular model, because they say that it has features like night attack capabilities and, it has a crash-worthy landing gear. So it makes it different from all others attack helicopter, and also given the fact that it has the maximum service ceiling of 6,500 meters, so it can go to Siachen, it can land at Siachen without any difficulty, and that's the reason why they are calling it the game changer. Also, Poonam, you see first squadron being raised at Jodhpur, which is the Western Command of Indian Air Force, strategically very important, very, very important. And as of now, we are seeing that all these dignitaries, including Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, CDS General Anil Chauhan, and also Air Chief Marshal, all dignitaries are present. And we are seeing this practice sortie where Rajnath Singh is very much in the flight and, is enjoying somewhere, is waving hands. And also, as of now, we have been given to understand that after this first squadron, Indian Air Force will be, having a word with the officers, having a word with the engineers of Hindustan Aeronautics Limited about the future upgrades, because we have been given to understand that it uses all the advancement, it uses all the technology, all the modern technology. In fact, the pilot of this particular helicopter can get all the information at itself, and this was the very fact that I was mentioning a bit earlier. And as of now, we are seeing these visuals where light combat helicopter has finally been inducted into the Indian Air Force, and light combat helicopter, which is, again by light-weighted and is all-weather aircraft with a maximum speed of 330 kilometers per hour and a maximum ceiling of 6,500 meters. And also it can carry a variety of weapons. It can carry a variety of missiles, and, it is capable of stopping any sort of drone attack, and is going to be very, very important for Indian Air Force at a time when we are seeing the kind of threats from countries like Pakistan and China, and at our borders, and experts are actually relying on, and they are among.
We'll try and reconnect with my colleague Akash there, who's getting us the very latest. But on your screens are visuals of the light combat helicopter, in which currently, as we speak, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is taking a sortie. This right after it was inducted into the Indian Forces. Remember, out of the 15 that have been inducted today, 10 are for the Indian Air Force and 5 for the Army. Akash, my colleague, is back with me, I believe. And Akash, this is just the beginning, because we're given to understand that the Army itself also has a plan to acquire at least 95 of these light combat helicopters.
Exactly, and because of its weight, we have been given to understand that not only Air Force, as of now, Indian Army is also taking 5 units of the helicopter, and in future they are going to get 95 more. In fact, they are planning features Poonam. This has become very, very crucial, and the fact that it is India's indigenously developed. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited have basically designed and developed these aircraft, these helicopters. In fact, I'm so sorry. And the whole idea of designing and developing these light combat helicopters came from the Kargil War in 1999, when the officers felt the need of a light-weighted helicopter that can go, that can fly through the mountains. And at that time in 2006, finally Hindustan Aeronautics Limited started this particular design. Yes, it took a lot of time, but finally in year 2022, after the approval from the Cabinet Committee of Security, finally we are having these. We have this particular induction where in October itself we are going to raise the first squadron in Jodhpur. And I'm mentioning this again and again. This particular Air Force station is very, very important, very crucial in terms that we are sharing our western borders with Pakistan. And at a time when we have a Western Command here at Jodhpur, we are going to induct. We have in fact inducted these aircraft here at this particular Air Force station, the first squadron, the first batch. And here, we are looking for some more units in future. Poonam.
Absolutely. What's also interesting is that it can actually destroy bunkers and destroy targets about 15,000 to 16,000 feet away from the actual target. And that's really something that is going to boost the capability of our forces. both as far as China and Pakistan are concerned, especially in fact as far as China is concerned, because along the eastern border we have several hilly areas, not just in the Himalayan region, not just in Ladakh, but also in the northeast.
Exactly, and I was having a word with an Indian Air Force officer. He was mentioning this very point that this particular helicopter can fire with a gunshot of 110 degree, which is basically the important feature also. And also talking about the operations, it can be used for various operations, not only for the combat, but it can also be used for search and rescue operations. And we know the conditions at eastern Ladakh. We know the conditions, the kind of conditions that our Jawan face Jawan faces at the different time. So, this is going to be a game changer, the expert says. And as of now, the final induction day where we are seeing these visuals, Poonam, this is a historic day for India. And, the name itself shows somewhere the kind of attitude that India is going to have. Prachand is the name. Prachand somewhere shows the kind of aggression. Prachand somewhere shows the kind of speed. And after Tejas, we have now Prachand in our fleet of Indian Air Force.
Absolutely. Its stealth features is also what makes this helicopter an extremely important addition to the arsenal of our Indian forces, Akash, isn't it? Because it also has armored protection systems, night attack capability, and even a crash-worthy landing gear that would ensure better survivability in mountainous regions.
Exactly, and Poonam, I need to mention this very point that we remember that how we lost the first CDS of India in an accident that happened down in south, and after that there was a need that we need better options for the air flights, and we know we should get some sort of those features there where we can have the better security for our Jawans, and we can have the better survival options. And at a time when we have these features in this particular helicopter, then it is going to be a game changer. And experts say that AI is the future, artificial intelligence is the future. And talking about this particular aircraft, so it is using all the modern techniques, and in the future it will also incorporate artificial intelligence. In fact, there are chances that artificial intelligence will be incorporated in this particular helicopter. So as of now, we are looking forward for the future upgrades, but this is a historical day for Indian Air Force. In fact, Indian Defense Ministry and Indian government as well, where we are finally inducting these light combat helicopters. And Prachand is the name that has been given to these helicopters. We have seen the kind of mega event in Jodhpur where Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, along with CDS General Anil Chauhan, and also other dignitaries are present. This is a big day, this is an important day, and we are getting these live visuals from Jodhpur, which is the Indian Air Force station, strategically very important, and the Western Command of Indian Air Force, and a historic day for every Indian, and a historic day for Indian Air Force, in fact.
Absolutely, and this is just the beginning, because like we've been talking about, this is the first induction of the light combat helicopters, but there are several more that are in the pipeline. For now, the IAF gets 10 of them, 5 to the Army, but there is a requisition of about 160 light combat helicopters for the Army and the Air Force combined. The work for that already is in progress, and sooner than later, all of those will be ready and will be inducted into the arsenal of the Indian Armed Forces. Before now, as we speak, Rajnath Singh there taking a sortie in the newly inducted light combat helicopter. Prachand is what it's been called. Clear message being sent of the might of India, the might of Indian forces, especially to our two neighbors who have been increasing their hostility, their aggression along both the borders, the eastern and the western front as far as India is concerned. India has sent a clear message to both those countries time and again that security and sovereignty of the country will be paramount. There will be absolutely no compromise on it, and no dirty tricks will be tolerated. The induction of these 15 light combat helicopters is just another indication of that to anyone who tries any sort of misadventure towards the country. As far as Pakistan and China are concerned, if we talk about the equivalent capabilities, Akash, of those two countries, with the LCH, India perhaps is one step far ahead of them.
Exactly, and Poonam, someone was comparing LCH with Apache, and this is the that, talking about the been given to understand that.
We'll try and reconnect with my colleague Akash there, who's getting us the very latest and, of course, the significance of what really this means. Before now, we can tell you that Rajnath Singh is still on board that light combat helicopter taking a sortie, and that image of the defense minister is right before he entered the cockpit of that particular helicopter, all geared up in his overalls. Right now, he is in the skies there above Jodhpur, above the Jodhpur IAF base, in fact. He is going to be landing shortly, and we'll, of course, await a response from the Raksha Mantri as to his experience of his very first sortie in this particular aircraft, in this particular helicopter, I beg your pardon. But before, when he inducted Prachand, he made it very, very clear the kind of significance it holds, not just for the armed forces, but for the entire country as well, because this is a definite boost to the Make in India, Make for India dream that the Prime Minister has been speaking of for years together now. We're one step headed in the right direction as far as self-reliance in the defense sector is concerned. Not only self-reliance, in fact, India is making strides in ensuring that our countries are also now looking at India for weaponry, for defense acquisitions, and that's really the way forward as far as India is concerned. Akash is back with us, I believe, and Akash, we are of course awaiting for the Raksha Mantri to land after his sortie and hear from him his first-hand experience. But the importance and the significance that both he and the IAF chief highlighted when they inducted those 15 LCHs is clear as day.
Right, and you see, Poonam, I was, listening to the address of Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh, and he started, giving examples from the mythology where he said that first, whenever we talk about poets, we call Kalidas as the first one who starts everything. And he was talking about the singers, and then he talked about the land of Rajasthan. He very much maintained that how Rajasthan and, people who are belonging to Rajasthan are somewhere a part of Indian Army, Indian Air Force, and the tri-services, and how they are very crucial for Indian Air Force and Indian Army. And as of now, while we are getting inducted these particular helicopters, and how Jodhpur is very, very important place and very crucial place, he was maintaining that. And then he talked about this particular light combat helicopter. The very first thought that comes in our mind while we talk about light combat helicopter is, of course, the indigenously developed helicopter. These are India's own and indigenously developed helicopters. You see, starting from 2014, we know that how Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stressed on the very fact that we need to made in India, we need to make in India. And at a time when Prime Minister stressed on Atmanirbhar Bharat, this is the perfect example that we are getting this particular induction. And also, not only Indian Air Force, Indian Army is looking for the light combat helicopters, and it has a very light weight. That makes it different from all others. It has a total weight of 6 ton. In fact, 6 ton is the ultimate weight of this particular helicopter, and also the service ceiling. I was mentioning it earlier that it has the maximum service ceiling of all attack helicopters in the world. It can go up to 6,500 meters, and this is the maximum of all. Also, speed plays a big role. So 330 kilometers per hour is the speed. We were given to understand that it has dual engine, and it can fire with a 110-degree angle, and also it can carry a number of missiles, a number of weapons. Definitely, this is a very important day for not only Indian Air Force, but for for India, for the people of India, because we are getting our fleet strengthened. Indian Air Force is somewhere getting the fleet strengthened with this particular helicopter. This is the first attack helicopter, and it has been designed and developed keeping the thoughts of high altitude in mind, and it is on the very same design of Dhruv helicopters. It is on the very same design of
Right, the advanced light helicopter, which was named Dhruv. This is an upgraded version, so to say, as far as its capabilities are concerned. But there are comparisons that are being made over the two choppers that are now in India's arsenal. And these visuals are coming in live from the Jodhpur Air Force Base, where the first sortie which took Rajnath Singh to the skies of Jodhpur, is just about to make its landing as we speak. We'll of course await for Rajnath Singh to exit the cockpit of the chopper, come out and share his first-hand experience as to what that was like. Before now, we are just awaiting for that chopper to actually land. A 15-minute sortie perhaps is what the Defence Minister of this country, Rajnath Singh, enjoyed. The kind of conversations you would have had with the pilot in the cockpit, Akash, is also interesting, not just about the capabilities of the light combat helicopter. I'm sure experiences were also shared.
Exactly, and it is very interesting to see because talking about this helicopter, so it has a glass cockpit, so we can see what is happening there, and yes, not very clearly, but definitely Rajnath Singh will be having a word with the pilot as well, and also the kind of experience you see. This is a sortie in Raksha Mantri. Rajnath Singh is very much there taking the flight, and you see we were talking about the features, and light and glass cockpit is one of the features as well. This has a composite airframe structure, and it is indigenized helicopter. It comes above all the features. And you were just a few minutes back, you were comparing the Apache and the light combat helicopter. So a light combat helicopter is also the best because it can land in Siachen as well. Because we have seen that how Apache used to face difficulties in the Eastern Ladakh sector and Eastern Ladakh area. So as of now, Indian Air Force has an option to send, a light combat helicopter. In fact, to send Prachand in that particular area. In fact, I was mentioning that how 2 prototypes were very much deployed for the training purpose. 2 prototypes were very much deployed in the Eastern Ladakh sector, Eastern Ladakh area. And as of now, when we are seeing the conditions between India and China and the actual line of control, when things are not at the right place, and after Galwan violence, we have seen the kind of development at a time. At this point in time, this induction has a crucial role to play, and not only in case of China, but also in case of Pakistan. You see, this is going to be a very, very important day, and we are waiting that Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh would be completing this particular flight and will be telling about his experience as well, Poonam.
Absolutely, and we're standing by for that. But Major General Sivach also with us on this broadcast to put in perspective what really this means, not just for our armed forces, but also for the entire country as far as our defense capabilities are concerned. And Major General Sivach, like we've been discussing, there are comparisons that are being made between the advanced light helicopter Dhruv and to this particular light combat helicopter. This, of course, is an upgraded version of that.
Absolutely, it is upgraded, but it has got certain features which are far, far better than any other helicopter, including Dhruv. One is it is a light combat helicopter, less than about 6 tons. And second thing is that it can land on all heights, even above 15,000 feet. So it can operate a ceiling up to 21,000 feet, which is not there in other light combat helicopters. See, India is one of those countries, 7 countries, which has able to manufacture its own light combat helicopter, and this Prachand, the name which has been given, it is state of art. The point is that one is that it can operate in high altitude area, a height more than 15,000 feet. It can carry a more payload. It has got a missile called Mistral, which we have taken from France. It has got rocket, it has missile, it has gun, and it has capability and capacity to dodge any radar. And today it has got basically protection all round. A small arms fire will not make any difference. So overall, it is a far, far better helicopter than Dhruv. There is no doubt. And in fact, it is a good mixture that we have able to manufacture within our country with state of art. And point today is this is a matter of pride for us. It is Make in India and also Atmanirbhar Bharat. This will not only able to manufacture for ourselves, we will able to export to other countries, because this is what HAL is saying. They will able to, capacity of producing more than 150 helicopters per year. And now there is a requirement, 5 helicopters are going to Army. And as far as the Army is concerned, it is very much required there, because it's the arm of maneuver to support ground operation. And Army needs this more than anyone else. And therefore, the 5 helicopters have been given to Army. 1 is already given, 4 will be given in October, and the squadron is coming operational in the Eastern Command. So therefore, it is not only Air Force, the Army also getting combat helicopter, this attack after Prachand. So I can say overall it's a matter of pride for the nation
that we have able to indigenously prepare this helicopter. No, as you see, the situation is, as the time passed by, that India is now manufacturing majority of weapons within country. And not only for ourselves, we will able to export. Now, India, the time is gone when we used to import almost 70 to 80% of our weapon system from different countries, including Russia. Now we are going to manufacture ourselves. You see BrahMos missile, you see Tejas Mark 1 Alpha, there is a demand. It is also, you can say, basically other helicopters, as well as also that we have able to manufacture our own self aircraft carrier, that is INS Vikrant. And so therefore the list is long, and whatever aircraft or whatever item which we are taking from outside, we are putting a clause of Make in India concern. And that's the thing.
Absolutely, and there's an upgradation of the Indian Armed Forces, the weaponry that is continuously on in the last couple of years. We also saw just recently, in fact, a couple of days ago, that MiG-21 Bison fighter jets were also retired. Most of them or all of them are going to be grounded by 2025, and that's just the process that the centre has been focusing on, of trying to upgrade our capabilities, both for the IF and for the Army is concerned.
Bilkul, absolutely correct. The point is that, we need a 42 squadron, and today we are down by almost about 32, 33. And MiG-21 series aircraft will be retiring in time to come, and so will be in time to come will be your Jaguar as well as MiG-29 and Sukhoi. So you have to have better aircraft, fifth generation aircraft, 4.5 generation aircraft to come up. This is Tejas Mark 1. Alpha coming, then we are going to get Tejas Mark 2. In between, we possibly will also get some aircraft to fill in that gap, because we need that almost about 40 squadron in case the threat is from both sides, from China and Pakistan. But certainly the weapon system like this, the Prachand which has come now, light combat helicopter, which is state of art, which is attack after can operate in heights more than 15,000 feet. It is a game changer. It's a force multiplier. And the matter of pride is that it is made in India. That is what it has made a tremendous difference. It is indigenously made. And today India can proudly say that we are manufacturing about 30 to 40% of our defense items within our country. Not only that, in next time, in another about 2-3 years, after 2025, we will able to export this weapon system to other countries and earn a foreign exchange of 25,000 crore. So this is what is the change India is. And the two defense corridors which has come, one in north in UP and another in south, very close to Bangalore, they are making a change. And this public-private partnership. Remember two systems which we have taken from abroad. One is M777 ultralight Howitzer. We took it from US, but clause was put transfer of technology, and Mahindra Defense is manufacturing that in India itself.
Right.
And then is your K9 Vajra. That is self-propelled gun, bought it from South Korea. Again, we had that clause of technology transfer, and it's been manufactured by L&T. So therefore, the point is either the weapons are indigenously prepared, or if the technology is not available, we say transfer technology, it has to still make in India. So India is changed now. India is a hub center of manufacturing armament, and you will find it from an import country, we will become an export country as far as defense items are concerned.
Absolutely. Our reliability on other nations in terms of the defense procurement has definitely reduced over the last few years. And these images, visuals coming in on your screens, viewers, are coming in live from the Jodhpur Air Base, where Rajnath Singh has just landed after taking the first sortie in the newly inducted light combat helicopters. Along with him, of course, is the pilot that flew with him. We are standing by to see if Rajnath Singh comes out and shares his experience of what exactly transpired in that 20-minute sortie as the light combat helicopter was over the skies of Jaipur, over the airbase, in fact, there. Before now, a photo opportunity with all those who made this event possible, who made that sortie possible for Rajnath Singh, the pilot who flew with him in that cockpit, which also is a marvel in itself. That's another addition and upgradation, Major Sivach, as far as this particular chopper is concerned.
100%. See, the point is the defense minister has flown in this helicopter. that is also a matter of pride. But overall, it is a game changer, no doubt about it, both for Air Force, it will add to their air power, air punch, and as far as Indian Army is concerned, there is no doubt is an arm of maneuver to support ground operation. And that is where it is required in high altitude like Ladakh and Siachen Glacier, as well as in northeast in Arunachal Pradesh. And this is also a weapon system which can be utilized as far as insurgencies are concerned, because a light combat helicopter can flow to any this thing. Not only that it is required to be only in mountains, it can be also operated in desert. So they have already time tested, it has been seen. The over a period of time, it is a game changer, it's a force multiplier, and it's a matter of pride for all Indians today that we are inducting the light combat helicopter Prachand as attack captain in India and manufactured by the country itself.
Absolutely. Now, as far as induction of this particular light combat helicopter is concerned, Major General Sivaj, there's also conversations revolving about how long this entire process actually takes. Yes, we are upping our game as far as self-reliance in the defense sector is concerned, but the turnaround time is still pretty long because if I'm not mistaken, it really was during the Kargil war in 1999 when the need for such an armed helicopter was actually felt. It's been over 2 decades since then that we've actually got this, and now it's been inducted into our forces.
See, the one thing is very clear, that we have to cut down this OODA loop, and we have to reduce this gap of when we conceive and when we able to produce the finished product. And this light combat helicopter, you are rightly said, what has happened is the Subramaniam committee after the Kargil war has brought out a requirement of light combat helicopter attack captor, which is about 5 tons. But it took us almost 20 years to manufacture this. And the need was felt. Then in 2010, its first sortie was there in prototype, but it took another 10 to 12 years. Obviously, I fully agree that we have to cut down that. You know, you cannot take 20 years to manufacture a weapon system because the technology by that time already changed. So I'm sure that India is now come of the age. The new weapon system which are being introduced, inducted in India, that OODA loop is being reduced, and you will find it, the weapons will be coming not more than about 5 to 7 years. So therefore, India is aware now, this is a past now. I can say that after present government has come, their focus is in Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. And there is no question, the government going haywire. So therefore, now whatever items or whatever weapon system which we are manufacturing within our own country, you'll find it is coming up well within 5 to 7 years, not like 20 years, because by 20 years, the technology also become obsolete.
Absolutely. The gap needs to be reduced, and I'm sure that will be done one step at a time, one big step, in fact, coming in today, a major landmark for our Indian forces, for the entire country. Photo ops there continuing with Rajnath Singh at the Jodhpur Air Base. We are slipping into a quick break here on this edition, but we'll continue getting you updates post that. Don't go anywhere.
Difficult film to pull off, and I felt like I was good, like I was okay, at least better than what I was in my previous work. But my question to myself, how do I get these filmmakers to watch my film? Having said that, it takes time. Like, trust me, in spite of being existing into Bollywood for so long, I haven't really gotten something which is as character-wise as meaty as Sita. I believe that whatever work I got in the past, I kept doing that. I literally rose from 5 scenes to 7 scenes to 10 scenes to 12 scenes. To all the actors, I just want to tell them one thing, that do not be ashamed of being a part of a film which offers 3 scenes but are good scenes.
Mrinal, you've been one of those few lucky actresses who in a very short span of your career have worked with the A-listers. You worked with Hrithik Roshan in Super 30, you worked with Shahid Kapoor in Jersey, you worked with Dulquer in Sita Ramam, and you worked with Farhan Akhtar in Tufan. How did that happen? Because this is one of those very, very key things that an actor needs in his career, to be seen as an A-lister.
Yeah, but Atika, short span, I think 10 years is not short span, yeah.
Okay.
I started facing camera when in 2012 and we are in 2022 right now.
Hmm.
Obviously, when you do when you be a part of a good film like Love Sonia was that for me, it reached out to so many audience out there, so many filmmakers out there. Nikhil Advani sir actually saw Love Sonia. I got Batla House. Then Nikhil Advani sir recommended my name to Rakesh sir for Tufan, and for Jersey also. I think Jersey happened because of Sneha, I must say, who works for me, and she recommended my name. And not many of them know that I had actually met the makers for Kabir Singh,
Okay.
for Preeti's character, but I was little skeptical about playing that character because I don't think my family was open enough to see me in that avatar, I must say.
Yeah,
So I
sure.
had to unfortunately let it go, and I feel like I wish I was a part of that film, but it was meant to be to work with Shahid Kapoor, and if it was not Kabir Singh, it is Jersey. So I'm
Just
happy that
yeah.
I remember meeting Shahid for the first time, and I was like very excited to play the part. And I think Gautam sir also is that director. I asked him, how do you found me? Like, how did you find me? He mentioned ki I saw your work in Super 30 Mranal, and that's when I knew you are my Vidya. So a big thank you to all the filmmakers and co-actors and the entire team who's like, and the audience especially has showered me with so much love.
Yeah, they have. You have a good day and all
Thank
the
you.
best for your movies.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
So tell me, I think you didn't choose Sita. Sita
Sita
chose
Chu.
you, right?
Yes.
And this is such a unique character. It's almost like right out of a novel. Your character, Sita, is someone who falls in love with somebody and stays single till the rest of her life after she doesn't get together with him. And what amazing poise and patience does she display? What was your reference point?
My biggest reference was Gayatri Devi. I watched her interviews. I saw all the footage online, whatever was available. Sharmila Tagore ji for her Adai, and for, because there's a lot of portion in the film that you'll see which requires that grace,
Yeah.
of Madhubala, and a person who's extremely close to my heart, that is Madhu Raja. And I think I would really like to dedicate Sita Mahalakshmi's character to Madhu Raja. She has made such a huge difference in my life because when I met her, I was a girl. I was this girl with foul mouth, no tehzeeb, nothing. But when I met her, she transformed me into this well behaved kid who is
Oh.
extremely professional enough in her career.
Tell me, as an actor, these periods of no work phases, what does an actor do? While you have to keep your enthusiasm high, while you have to keep your energy high as well, how does one keep preparing for the projects that will come to him maybe a year later or 2 years later? You learn dancing, posture, body posture, singing. What all did you learn?
Last time where I was at home and I didn't have much to shoot, I learned Kathak. And for an actor, I feel like you always need to be prepared क्योंकि कल ऐसा होगा where you don't have time to learn and you just have to be on set and perform. So I was massively hydrophobic and I worked on that. I learned how to swim. I learned how to swim, and now that I have little time left, I'm going to start my Kalari Payattu classes back. I want to do something in action so that tomorrow, if there is a director who's asking me, "Do you know how to perform action?" I want to say yes. Most of the people get really discouraged during this phase where they think that why is no work coming? But this time is actually to groom ourselves and to be a better performer. Last time I learned mixed martial arts, a little bit of jiu-jitsu and animal.
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18 and news coming in from the national capital where the Delhi Liquorgate scandal is exploding. AAP's communication in charge, Vijay Nair, who was arrested in that scandal, has now been brought to Delhi's Rouse Avenue court. This is at the end of his CBI custody. He will be produced before a special CBI judge and a duty magistrate. That's going to happen in just a few minutes from now, as he already is in the court premises. Whether or not the CBI seeks for further custody, that remains to be seen. But for now, Vijay Nair has been brought to court. He will be produced shortly. Ananya Bhatnagar, my colleague who tracks developments in court very closely, is now with us. And Ananya, is the CBI going to seek further custody?
Well, that's a matter of time, and we'll get to know as and when Vijay Nair is produced before the court. But what is very, very significant in this case particularly is that remember that CNN News 18 had actually broken down the remand papers of Sameer Mahindra, which clearly mentioned that Vijay Nair actually had a very crucial role to play in this liquor policy. And in fact, he was the one who had held meetings with a lot of vendors, not only in Delhi, but in Hyderabad and other states as well. And the meetings pertaining to were actually that the 12% retail, in fact, the whole property that was set around 12% was that 6% that would be now to Aam Aadmi Party leaders and also, in fact, the liquor vendors. So a commission was set on 6%. That is what the Central Bureau of Investigation has to say in its remand papers. What is also very, very crucial to note is that the whole policy was actually brought in to end the collusion between the liquor vendors, but then definitely the investigation has revealed that this was that Mr. Sameer Mahindra, along with some other vendors, was actually enjoying a monopoly into this new policy where the major share of liquor vendors were actually controlled by Sameer Mahindra and his associates. Remember that out of 12, 9 of them were associated with Sameer Mahindra, and that is what the charge that the Central Bureau of Investigation and the Enforcement Directorate is leveling against all of these people, which includes Vijay Nair and Sameer Mahindra. But at this particular point of time, after the 5 days of custody, we'll see as to whether the Central Bureau of Investigation would be seeking a further remand of Vijay Nair, because definitely in the 5 days of police custody remand, they would have confronted him with other accused person, and would have also extracted his statements on which would be shown to the court, and what has been done in the past 5 days when he was produced before, when he was actually remanded to CBI custody for 5 days. So we'll have to wait and watch.
Absolutely. Do keep a track of what transpires in court. For the moment, Ananya, thank you so much. Shifting focus now to news coming in from Pakistan, where BJP's Manjinder Singh Sirsa has now tweeted a video of what he calls is blasphemy. He says a film crew was allowed to shoot for a movie inside a Gurudwara premises. The Gurudwara that he is speaking of is Gurudwara Panja Sahib, where he says that earlier similar frivolous acts were seen in Kartarpur Sahib as well. And now the Pakistan government continues to give blasphemy a free hand.
सारा स्टार कास्ट जूतियां के अंदर दिखाई दे रहा है। एक श्रद्धालु ने इसकी वीडियो बनाई, जिसने वीडियो बनाई वो वीडियो कहता सुन रहा है कि आपको पता ही नहीं है ये सिक्खी कैसे मिली है। लग रहा है कि वो भी मुसलमान है। 30 तरीक तो आदमी नहीं लभदा पिया। पुलिस प्रशासन ने शायद इस ते कार्रवाई करके उन्हें अंदर बंद कर दिता है। बड़ी हैरानगी की गल है, घटना पहली नहीं घटी, इस तो पहला भी बहुत गुरु घरां च घटना घट चुकी आ। मैं भारत सरकार दे कोल विदेश मंत्रालय कोल नूं ये बेनती करदा है कि तुरंत इस ते कार्रवाई की जाए, उत्थों की सरकार नाल गल की जाए और इन्हां लोगों ते मुकदमा दर्ज किया जाए गुरु घर की बेअदबी करन दा। और जिस गुरु घर के श्रद्धालु ने वीडियो बना के ये जनतक की, लोगों को जानकारी दी आ, उसकी जान की राखी की जाए। पाकिस्तान की सरकार को तुरंत इन लोगों को फड़ के अरेस्ट करना चाहिए है जिन्होंने गुरु घर भी बेअदबी की।
Siddhant is with me for more on this. Now, Siddhant, that allegation coming to the fore from BJP's Manjinder Singh Sirsa, he also wants the Indian government to intervene. Have we had any word coming in from the centre over this?
Well, look, this is not one independent incident that has taken place. In last few months, we have seen multiple photo shoots inside Gurudwaras in Pakistan, and in fact, many of those Gurudwaras were used for film shooting. So Mr. Sirsa and Bharatiya Janata Party have been making allegations that how the government of Pakistan, the administration in Pakistan is ignorant about all these incidences taking place, the way permissions are being given. And, Gurdwara has its own protocol, and devotees cover their head while entering Sanctum Sanctorum. One has to wash hands while going near to the Sanctum Sanctorum. Then
right, sorry to interrupt you there. BJP's Manjinder Singh Sirsa is with us on the phone line. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. You highlight this particular incident, Mr. Sirsa, but you say that this is not the first one, and blasphemy seems to get a free run in Pakistan.
Very true. If you remember, a couple of months back, A same incident happened in Gurdwara Kartarpur Sahib. Before that, it happened in Gurdwara Nankana Sahib. So these are not the first time. There are a couple of incidents. And the main problem here is the control of the Gurdwara is not with the Pakistan Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee. In fact, the day-to-day control is with the Waqaf Board of Pakistan, and they have made some joint secretary who has nothing to do with Sikhism, neither is aware of the principles, neither is aware of our teachings. So the basic problem is here. Secondly, as you are well aware, there are a limited of 6 left there. Almost 18,000 Sikhs are there, and they don't have any say in the system. Now this gentleman who made this video is missing since last 3 days. In fact, no Sikh is allowed to speak on this issue in Pakistan. That's the reason we are raising here in India. And that is the sad story of Pakistan and the Sikhs, how they are treated there in Pakistan. This is the story. But now we have requested to the government of India also, and I think after raising an issue where your national channel is also raising this issue, I hope the Pakistan's dumb ear will open and they will definitely take action. That's what I can hope from them.
Right, Manjinder Singh Sidha, thank you so much for speaking with us here. We'll try and, of course, await a response coming in from the centre as well. Siddhant getting us the very latest. But for now, a quick break on this edition. Back in just 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
I have little time left. I'm going to start my Kalari Payato classes back. I want to do something in action so that tomorrow, if there is a director who's asking me, do you know how to perform action? I want to say yes. Most of the people get really discouraged during this phase where they think that why is no work coming? But this time is actually to groom ourselves and to be a better performer. Last time I learned mixed martial arts, a little bit of jiu-jitsu and animal movement and kickboxing. Like Kathak is something that I have, I'm already introduced to, but ballet is something which is on my mind. And I want to work on my language. I want to learn Telugu fluently so that in future, tomorrow when I go visit Hyderabad or Telangana, I want to speak fluently.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm working on
Ela
right
unnaru.
now. Bagunnara. That much I know. I learned how to say Nenu Meeku Premistunnanu, which means I love you. Nenu Meeku Dveshistunnanu, which means I hate you. So all these small little things are beautiful. I would love to explore that language and I want to learn. That's on my agenda.
Mrinal, what is the art of being seen by the right people? Like you said, Nikhil Advani called me and you said that I got a call from them, I got a call from him. What is the art of putting yourself out there? How do you catch the attention of the filmmakers? This is for all the actors that are waiting somewhere but don't know how to get spotted.
I think I owe my career to all the film festivals that my Love Sonia has been has been screened at. This is a very difficult question. Trust me, Atika, I was myself struggling really hard because I felt like Love Sonia was such a difficult film to pull off, and I felt like I was good, I was okay, at least better than what I was in my previous work. But my question to myself, how do I get these filmmakers to watch my film? Having said that, it takes time. Trust me, in spite of being existing into Bollywood for so long, I haven't really gotten something which is as character-wise as meaty as Sita. I believe that whatever work I got in the past, I kept doing that. I literally rose from 5 scenes to 7 scenes to 10 scenes to 12 scenes to all.
Thank you for staying with us. News coming in about the intensified crackdown on the now proscribed organisation, the Popular Front of India, and sources are telling your channel that the Delhi police is taking action against them. They've registered an FIR in the case. An FIR has been registered under the UAPA Act in Shaheen Bagh. This case was registered about 3 to 4 days ago, is what we're now learning. This after 3 properties of the Popular Front of India were seized across the national capital. Remember, its office in Shaheen Bagh was already sealed the day it was raided. And after the organisation was banned under the UAPA by the Home Ministry, now the crackdown has been intensified against the organization and its members. Anshul is now with me for more on this. Anshul, what more have you gathered from your sources?
So yes, the Delhi police is definitely taking action because remember, an order came from the Commissioner of Police in the national capital where it was said that all the properties that were used by the PFI to, in fact, launder the money that was coming in from as foreign funding, all those should be seized. So keeping that in mind, the Delhi police has gone ahead and seized 3 properties of the PFI after registering an FIR under the UPA. Now, the UAPA goes ahead and actually gives the leeway to the police to register a case under Section 8 of the UAPA, according to which they can go ahead and seize properties and evidences that have been used by such banned organizations. And that is the reason why that three other properties have now been seized by the Delhi police. The investigation is going on in this matter. Now, remember, already more than 350 people of the PFI have been arrested and taken into custody by the NIA. We saw the kind of raids that happened in the national capital, after which the PFI was banned and the instruction was given from the commissioner to the DCPs in the national capital that there should be information about each and every worker of the PFI and what are the plans they are going to carry out forward. Keeping that in mind, we are seeing this action coming in from the Delhi police. Already 3 properties of the PFI has been sealed. Now it remains to be seen what comes out from these sealed offices and what are the evidences that the police has managed to gather till now.
Absolutely. Do keep a track of that investigation. For the moment, Anshul, thank you so much for getting us the very latest. With that, it's time for another quick break here on this edition. But lots lined up for you on CNN News 18. Do stay tuned.
So much. Bye-bye.
So tell me, I think you didn't choose Sita. Sita chose you, right?
Yes.
And this is such a unique character. It's almost like right out of a novel. Your character, Sita, is someone who falls in love with somebody and stays single till the rest of her life after she doesn't get together with him. And what amazing poise and patience does she display? What was your reference point?
My biggest reference was Gayatri Devi. I watched her interviews. I saw all the footage online, whatever was available. Sharmila Tagore ji for her Adain and for, because there's a lot of portion in the film that you'll see which requires that grace. Of Madhubala and a person who's extremely close to my heart, that is Madhu Raja. And I think I would really like to dedicate Sita Mahalakshmi's character to Madhu Raja. She has made such a huge difference in my life because when I met her, I was a girl. I was this girl with foul mouth, no tehzeeb, nothing. But when I met her, she transformed me into this well-behaved kid who is extremely professional in